Welcome back to another episode of Hey Girl Hey, Life Through the Lens of Female Friendship. I'm your host, Becky Kessler-Sykes, and today we are diving into a topic that touches every woman, whether we welcome it or not: aging. It's coming for everybody. We have a very awesome guest with us today, and we're going to be unpacking the expectations placed on women, what we do to feel young, and yes, that buzzword you've probably been hearing a lot lately, perimenopause. Aging for women is a very unique journey, certainly not a one size fits all. Our hope is that in this conversation, you'll find overlap with your own experiences, a few laughs, and most importantly, a yummy dose of "I'm not in this alone." Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, "The best tunes are played on the oldest fiddles." So without further ado, let me introduce today's guest, my dear friend of 16 years, Danielle Avilla-Johnston. Danielle and I first met in the yoga world here in Santa Monica, California. We became part of a small core group of girlfriends who quickly turned into my ride or die crew. And Danielle has one of the most generous hearts of anyone I've ever known. And you do. She has the rare gift of seeing the light in people and rooting for them wholeheartedly. She is not just a cheerleader, she's a believer. And when Danielle shines her light of support, it's not fluff. It's grounded in her own lived experience. And trust me, she's had a lot of it. From a wild St. Patty's Day marriage in Chicago in her 20s to tending bar in New York City, to her chapters in Oregon and growing up on a hippie commune of sorts. Her stories are as rich as her creativity. Danielle is a screenwriter, painter, graphic designer, showrunner, you name the creative lane, she has walked in it. And when I need an eye on anything, a resume, a new song, a logo, Danielle is my North Star. I trust her creative compass completely, and I love her.
I'm so honored.
Welcome. Hey, girl, hey.
Good to be here. Hey, girl, hey.
So happy you're here. Thanks for joining me. So we're going to jump right in with the topic today, Daniela. Okay. And I was hoping that you could start by telling everyone your age.
Okay.
And then elaborate a little on how you relate to that number.
I turned 62 in August. And, it is, the 50s were a little easier to get your arms around, just as far as the number goes. The 60, that's a jump. That feels a lot different. I'm looking at time left more than I was in my 50s. But there's also, each decade seems to bring more freedom, which is really great. And part of that is just wisdom from all the life experiences. But there's new challenges. Each decade seems to have different kinds of challenges.
So like we have different parts of ourselves, obviously. You have your physical body, you have your spiritual life, you have your mental capability, the relationships you have in your life, all of these things. And it sort of sounds like most of those realms improve over time.
Exactly. Just how you know yourself, and you just don't give a shit like you used to. Right. That's probably one of the best parts of it.
So that's all very positive. So is it just the physical part of aging that is the underbelly? Is that really or is that even the underbelly?
For me, I will admit that there are times in the middle of the night I wake up and I'm like, holy shit. I look at my parents that are just like 22, 25 years older than me.
Right.
And that just doesn't feel that far away.
Right.
And they're really, they're doing pretty well physically, but it's kind of shocking to see the changes in 20 years that can happen, because I don't feel that much different than I did when I was in my 40s in some ways. I mean, you do, things change for sure. But I think that maybe 60 to 80, things are really changing. Yeah. So that can freak me out. But I try not to focus on that and just take care of myself. And, each day, take it on one step at a time. Keep going after dreams. And
I would say that is part of what keeps you young.
I think it's important. I just want to add, I had a really good role model. My dad's mother, my grandmother, Bobby, when my grandfather died, she was 72. And she was from a very poor French Canadian family. And she literally had to drop out of school in 8th grade. But she was a very curious, self-taught person. She was very learned, but it was all because she was such a big reader. Made sure that her boys went to college, and she was just really believed in education. Well, in her 70s, she took her life insurance money and put herself through college.
Wow.
And there she got the education she always wanted, and she started painting. And she had this group of friends that were in their 40s, and they would have martinis every Wednesday. And it's just like she said her best years of her life were her 70s and 80s. And so that's kind of been inspiring to me that
For sure.
it ain't over yet.
No, I mean, I think the lesson is really in that saying, get busy living or get busy dying, right? And what does living look like? It doesn't look like stagnation. It doesn't look like not moving your body or learning new things. If you're doing all of those things, you're full of life force.
That's right.
The inevitable part is we all will die.
Yeah.
But how do you really live in the time that you have?
Yeah.
And you pursue those things more is the hope. But a lot of people kind of tucker out a little bit. And so that's why it's so interesting. Everyone wears their age in a different way.
Yeah.
My next question, it's what was some of the messaging you got around aging and being a woman specifically?
I think that society does a real number on women.
Big time.
And I remember my mom talking about, like, when you get to a certain age, you're invisible. Like, society doesn't even notice you anymore. And I've got little whispers of that. Actresses talk about they're washed up at 40. I don't think that's necessarily the case anymore, but I think that people would do a lot better in these later years if our society weren't so hyper focused on age. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of it is value based.
Yeah.
Youth has more valuable currency for women. I do feel like things are changing for the better all the time.
Yeah.
But women, their youth is connected to procreation and
Attractiveness,
sexuality. And it's this outward facing power. Once you get a certain age, you have less of it, is the messaging that I got.
I think with all that stuff, I think the most important thing is just as best we can to avoid that noise.
I feel like the best way to do that is to bring your girlfriends and women that are having similar experiences. And then you don't have to subscribe to those ideas because we're not giving those ideas. No. Those don't come from us.
Yeah.
The tighter we are together, the more we get to rewrite those messages.
Beautiful.
So let's pivot for a second. I would love to hear about, when do you personally feel the most young? What are you doing? What does it look like?
I'm just sort of present in my life and relationships.
Right.
Yeah. And I have a lot of younger friends. I guess I do appreciate having younger friends. I think that helped. Y'all are keeping me young.
I don't know how young I'm keeping you, because some days I feel pretty ancient. So the buzzword menopause. And then of course perimenopause. For our really young listeners who that's not really on the table quite yet, I just want to define it sort of very loosely. So perimenopause is when your menstrual cycle starts to become erratic, and so do the symptoms associated with hormone fluctuations over a period of time. And then menopause is when you've gone a full year without a menstrual cycle. And the hope is that that's kind of when all those fluctuations have landed, in a sense. So those are kind of the two aspects of perimenopause and then menopause. I'll start by sharing where I am in that journey. So I'm 46, still have a regular period. However, I am experiencing itchy ears, disturbance, mood fluctuation, some inflammation in the body. Not knowing if all of that is related to perimenopause, I sort of feel like because of the stage I'm in my life, that's probably what's going on. And I had my hormones checked last year, and my estrogen is actually sky high, which is the opposite of what you see in menopause. But what my doctor explained to me is there can be a seesaw effect as you start to approach that change. So my estrogen is revving it, trying to keep it regulated. But imagine having a shit ton of estrogen in your system all the time. You are going to be a little bit of an emotional wreck and then eventually go low. So I'm kind of at the very beginning of that journey. And you are on the other side of menopause. So I would love to hear what your journey was like, kind of from start to finish.
My perimenopause through the end of menopause was about 8 years. And it was one of the most challenging chapters of my life.
It started at what age?
I think it was 47.
Okay.
And when my first symptom was really heavy bleeding. And it was also during a really hard time in our lives. We had a really tough financial situation. Darling husband had a heart attack. I feel like those are lost years. Work to me felt like drinking gasoline every day. I felt like I had no control over my emotions at times. You look at the list of symptoms for perimenopause or menopause. I feel like I had 6 month stages of just about everything on that list.
So again, it's not a one size fits all. Everyone has a different experience with perimenopause and into menopause. Um, but what were some kind of very specific symptoms that you had or challenges that you had going through as it pertained to sleep or physical body or anything like that? What were the hardest parts for you?
The hardest parts, there was a phase where my heart would palpitate. And it was a very unsettling feeling. My hot flashes, it was only for a 6 month period, thank God, would literally wake me up in the middle, like, because it would come with this rush of fear, terror, and hopelessness. And then as soon as I started cooling down, it would subside. Not everyone gets that, but that is something that people get, that rush of fear, terror, and hopelessness. It's fast, it doesn't last, but that was horrific. One thing that can help when women start getting hot flashes is just like go open the freezer. The sleep was hard. The brain fog, I think feeling irritated.
Yes.
And hating on my husband, hating hating on myself.
Was there anything specific to sex or that kind of stuff?
Yeah. There's definitely a period where you don't want a lot of it. That at that time, it's just like
You don't even want anybody near you.
Yeah.
It's like when you're breastfeeding, there's too much going on and I can't handle anymore. I totally relate to that.
One time I was in such a dark place. I'm not naturally a depressed person. This whole experience gave me an understanding of some small sense of what it must be like to have a brain chemistry issue, because there was no exercising it away. I was doing everything that was supposed to be right, and nothing worked. I just felt like the universe had a big foot on me and said, "You're not moving." I think the hardest part was I knew that these were important creative years and I just didn't have it in me. I just didn't have it. There was one time a friend literally dragged me out of the house to go to West Side Comedy. And I was in such a dark place. And I went, and there was a comedian that was on fire that night. I laughed for 40 minutes. And it just shifted my brain chemistry, and it was really, really fantastic. So there are things you can do. I will say I went to the conventional doctor, Western medicine, to see what they could do for me. And they said they weren't doing hormones anymore because of the risks of developing breast cancer. They really had absolutely nothing for me. I did see an acupuncturist. I took all these herbs. I don't know how much any of that helped. Yeah. I hate to say that, but I know these days there's bioidenticals that are more available and there are other things you can do, but we really have not studied women's medicine.
No. And I feel like because it's a buzzword and the more attention that's placed on it and the more women talk about it and identify the overlap, it's like we're leading the medical community by way of saying something's up and we need some support. Because historically it's been a very misdiagnosed and ignored and dismissed change in life that's pretty major. Like you said, it's hormonal. And that's brain chemistry stuff. That's physical. It affects all systems down when it's not running properly. And women used to go to the doctor and be sent home with antipsychotics.
They used to institutionalize women when they're going through menopause. Women going through the change of life, the rates of divorce go up, job loss, career change. It's quite a odyssey to go through. And even with people whose lives seem to be on track and not turned upside down like mine was at that time. And then there are people that I know that just stopped bleeding. Bless them.
Right.
Yeah.
It's similar with birth stories, right? As some people, it's like the baby just flew out.
Yeah.
Exactly. You have people that labored and had to have emergency cesarean, and everybody's journey is different. So I certainly don't mean to scare people that are upon that change. I'm glad that you shared your experience because I think that's the experience of many women.
Yeah.
And then there's going to be people that are more middle of the road with it and people that had a lighter dose, if you will.
Yeah.
But it's all important to share so that people can relate and know where they are.
And I want to say that I do think there are holistic methods that can be helpful. And maybe it was helping me.
It sure wasn't hurting. And one thing I know about you is like whenever there's something going on, you're very tuned into yourself emotionally, physically, all the ways. And so you're going to take action. the action and the research, that helps you to feel better.
I will say that I did call my mother. I called my friend of mine in Boston who's 12 years older than me. They never mentioned menopause. It's so taboo that even my hippie mother, who you think is open-minded and unconventional, I felt pissed that no one warned me. But the fact that they weren't talking about it and still didn't want to talk about it. And I needed to talk to somebody about it.
That's the messaging part.
Yeah.
Like, shh.
Yes. There's a shame that comes along with that.
You lose your value. And so we don't want to talk about that and draw attention to that.
That's right.
We want to stay valuable.
Yeah, there's something really wrong with that.
I agree.
And I really appreciate Naomi Watts. The actress. And she started going through menopause at 36. I love what she's doing with her product. I think it's called Stripes. I haven't used any of her products, but she's just out there and makes you not feel alone. And she's a public figure.
You have a lot of people using their platform to kind of get the word out about it. And that feels good because they can change that messaging.
Yeah. After menopause, I actually feel the best that I've ever been. Like I feel so much stronger in every way. And I feel more in my skin. So I think that's why I'm not feeling old. You're really the best you've ever have been.
I love that. That's going to be life goals for me. If you had to reflect on your life of the different stages that you have gone through, how would you sort of identify those in the arc of your life?
20s is about like, what the hell am I going to do with my life? My 30s is about, okay, I think I'm testing things, I'm figuring it out. 40s is you becoming more of a master at what you're doing, which feels really good. And unfortunately, the late 40s is when the menopause kicked in.
So then you get your ass kicked.
Yeah. And then you come out of that and you feel alive and better than ever in some ways. And then other things start to creep in, like health stuff and aging parents. Things are changing.
It's confronting of not just your parents' mortality, but your own. Thank you for that. Well, Danielle, thank you so much for sharing all of your stories, your wisdom, and your heart today. I feel like every time we talk, I walk away lighter and more grounded at the same time.
Oh, I love you.
Before I let you go, I do a little rapid fire question series.
Okay.
So if you could name a place on your travel bucket list, what would it be or where would it be?
Lake Como.
Okay. Yeah. Lights on or lights off?
Lights off.
Lights off. What TV show title describes your life currently?
Oh my God. Well, honey, that I didn't have to think about that one.
Chocolate chip cookies or potato chips?
Probably chocolate chip cookies.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
What's a song that's sure to get you on the dance floor?
Oh my God. Anything Earth, Wind, and Fire. Probably September.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's great. Who would you pick as your road trip buddy?
My road trip buddy. Snuggles.
Me?
Sure. Yeah. I think we'd have a blast.
Yeah. All right. Great. To our listeners, thank you for tuning in to Hey Girl Hey. If you enjoy these conversations, don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. And if you'd like to support the podcast, you can find a donation link on our YouTube channel. Buy Me a Coffee is what it's called. It's kind of a cool thing. So until next time, remember you're not alone in this journey and age ain't nothing but a number. Hey Girl Hey, we'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.